Hi everybody, it's time for He Said, She Said, and today we're going to discuss two of our trips to Disney World. And this is called Getting There is Half the Fun. And this is dedicated for all of you who love Chevy Chase and the first vacation movie. If you remember the Griswolds, we are the Griswolds reincarnated. In fact, we used to watch that video before we would take any road trips to Disney World. But I don't think it was out when we went the first time. Okay?
Okay, so this is our first trip down to Orlando Disney World, and I had just gotten a used International Harvester four-wheel drive. So I was looking forward to trying it out in case it snowed on our way down there, which it did. Started in Washington. So I put the car in four-wheel drive high and rode beautifully. It's down somewhere around South Carolina, stopped for the night. Got up the next morning, drove through the rest of South Carolina and into Georgia. About 3/4 of the way through Georgia, and Karen heard a clunk. So I didn't hear it. I pulled over, popped the hood, checked inside, and the clamp holding my oil pump is broken, so my oil pump's laying on its side with all the oil leaking out. At any rate, we had her girlfriend and her son with us, so her girlfriend and I walked down about a mile to the exit in Brunswick. Called somebody, I don't know who, but at any rate, we arranged to have somebody come out and help us. I walked all the way back to the car, and sure enough, heading up 95 north of the Camaro, doing about 90 miles an hour, sees us, whips a Yui across the median strip and pulls over. And I say, "Hi, Smokey the Bandit." At any rate,
He drove like Smokey the Bandit because he had to bring us back to his shop, and he drove like a maniac.
yeah.
But go ahead.
At any rate, he arranged to have his tow truck come out and get us, and bring us back into his garage. And of course, this is Sunday morning, so we were lucky to get anybody to look at the truck. They decided to weld the clamp back together, which they did. It started about 10 in the morning. They got finished around 4:30 in the afternoon. Just got the bill, looked at it, my mouth dropped to the floor. Of course, it's double labor on the weekend. At any rate, truck was fixed. We took off, drove the rest of the way down into Orlando to Kissimmee, where we had reservations in a motel down there.
My friend had made the reservations. She planned the whole trip.
At any rate,
She planned the whole trip, and she planned it so it wouldn't be too expensive for us, where it was our first trip. But we cut unnecessary corners, if you know what I mean. Go ahead.
I don't know what she said, but at any rate, we got a room, not the one we reserved, because the ceilings were falling down in that room. We got a room that we could stay in overnight. Got up the next day, driving in my truck, and the engine overheated. I pulled over to a garage. They checked. Happened, the oil pump when it fell, slashed part of the fan belt. Eventually the fan belt fell off. Stuck down there. for another 3 hours while they put a new fan belt on the truck. Thankfully, we got everything fixed, and we also decided at that point we were never going to stay anyplace other than inside Disney.
No, we didn't decide it at that point in time. I'll tell you when we really decided it was after the trip, actually, because the trip was so horrible. Because the morning when we were in Orlando, our first morning there, Leslie put the key, asked to borrow the key so she could put something out or put something in the car. I don't know. All I know is she took the key and broke it into the lock. So we couldn't lock our car. Luckily, I had another set of keys with me, but that still didn't help because we couldn't use the lock because the key was still in it. So that trip was just a total disaster because we had planned it around her 13-year-old son, because he had been to Disney World a long time, and he had been to the Magic Kingdom, and that was the only park open. He had been there several times in the, his first 10 years of life. So that was the first park that was open, and the only one when we were down there the first time. But after staying with her and having to go to, oh, you're going to think I'm terrible, but Cape Kennedy, and I don't know, we went to a couple other boring places that he was into astronauts at the time. I know I should have been more, but the place was too old for my younger kids, really. They weren't appreciating it. And it was not my favorite Disney World trip. But anyway, when we got back, that's when Charlie and I discussed it and said, never again, if we're going to go to Disney World, we're going to stay on property. And then none of these bad things will happen. Okay, you're
Okay.
right.
So anyway, on our second trip down to Florida.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
actually,
it's not the second trip down to Florida. It's one of the trips that we went on alone. It wasn't the second trip. There were a few in between, but go ahead.
Fine. Anyway, by 1989, we had gotten to the point of driving down every year at least once. So we also do not stop on the way. We drive straight through. What it usually takes me about 24, 26 hours. We took off and got all the way down into South Carolina. And this is probably, I don't know, February, March?
I don't remember.
Not sure which month it was. Again, it's a winter
It was a winter
time.
month, yeah.
Yeah, it started snowing in South Carolina. I'm just driving down the highway, and the snow doesn't bother me because we're from the north. South Carolina, people don't know what to do. They're driving at 30 miles an hour on Route 95. Anyway, it's getting dark. We're down into Georgia, almost down to Brunswick again. And we hear on the radio that the state police has closed the bridge at St. Mary's, so nobody can get into Florida.
Yes. And by that time, it wasn't just snowing. It was snowing hard. So we have no reservations. We were planning to be in Disney World at the Polynesian at, that day, and we're stuck in a snowstorm. Go ahead.
At any rate, we're almost to Brunswick, so we just figured, pull off the highway, get a room, we'll finish the trip tomorrow. So of course we get off the highway. Motel, no vacancy. Motel, no vacancy. Motel, no vacancy. All of them full up. I ended up pulling in the parking lot over near a Cracker Barrel.
Which closed
Which
at
was
7.
closed.
It closed at 7 o'clock at night. But there was a Waffle House right in that same parking area that stayed over.
Yeah, that's where we spent the night. Yeah.
But the
Karen,
car,
I don't know if she got any sleep.
not much.
You know, kids, they slept. Of course, it's freezing.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
were
so
turning the car
put
on.
the car on, but roll the window down.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we don't kill ourselves. We just freeze to death. What the hell? Well, at any rate, we woke up. Well, I was awake almost all night anyways, but everybody was awake at 4 in the morning. Well, we decided to leave, but, you know, there was a Waffle House open, so we went over and had breakfast.
that was our first time at a Waffle House, by the way. I was very impressed because at a lot of Waffle Houses, they never write anything down. They never write your order down. That's one of their tricky poos that they do, and they just, you know, the waitress yells it at the short order cook, and they cook it up for you. But go ahead.
Oh, at any rate, we left around 5 in the morning, got on Route 95. Of course, driving very slow. The roads just didn't look too good. You know, in Brunswick, where we were at, about 40 miles, 36 miles to the Florida border. There's another 25 miles to Jacksonville. And it usually takes about an hour. We got down into Jacksonville. And I'll tell you, the roads were 1 inch of solid ice. You know, there are cars on this side of the road, off the road, cars on the other side, off the road.
And we had to go over a bridge.
Yeah. Luckily, I have front-wheel drive in the Plymouth, and I'm used to driving on ice. So as Karen started to say, we're driving through Jacksonville, and we've got to go up over a bridge. I'm in the middle lane, which is I like, because if there's trouble, I can either go left or right. There's a 10-wheeler beside me, a little ahead of me, and he's inching up, but he starts to slide backwards. Believe me, Karen's screaming. I got by him, over the bridge, through Jacksonville, down to St. Augustine, and finally hit bare ground.
Yes, that's where the ice had stopped, in St. Augustine, Florida. The ice was finally off the trees, or was it still
that's
on?
the last time it snowed in southeast Georgia.
Yeah, and Florida. And, well, Florida was more of an ice storm than snow. It was really, everything had kind of turned to ice. It was horrible. It was the worst trip. We got down to the Polynesian, and I would have paid them $1 million a night.
No, it took me 5 hours to get to St. Augustine.
Yes, from Georgia. Not a good trip. And as I say, I would have paid anything. We'd already paid for the trip anyway, but if I had walked in and if they had said, you know, $500 a night back in the 80s, I would have done it. I wouldn't have cared. I was so nervous by the time I got down there.
Good.
Okay, excuse me, I got to bring it.
That's all right. I'll get him. You wrap it up.
Okay, I was going to break up a dog and a cat, but go quick. Bye. The dogs are tormenting the cat again. That's all for this one, I can see. We had to do this a couple of times because I ran out of space, believe it or not, on my iPad for memory for my videos. So I had to delete a whole bunch of videos. So by take 3, we finally figured out that's why it was shutting the camera off in the middle, because there was no memory space. Anyway, hope everybody's having a wonderful Labor Day. And that's what it is today. And as you can see, we were bored again. So, I hope to see you real soon. Till then, peace, hugs, love, God bless. See you soon. Bye.